Done.
Okay, great. All right. Welcome, everybody. And howdy. I'm coming back from Nashville here off of my vacation for my first webinar back. So I want to say hello to everybody. And I just want to tell you I'm excited about this class. It's on safety, insulation safety for condominiums. And we have the president, Ben Friedman, on today from CitiQuiet Windows and Doors. And I am all about safety. I unfortunately had the experience of having a coworker actually die in an event at work years ago, and from that point on, I hear safety. I want to talk about it and get into it. So I'm Peggy West. I'm the event organizer and also the new founder of Florida Condo Vendors for You, new website connecting my sponsors and vendors to board members and property managers. With that, I'm going to start introducing the sponsors for today, and I'm going to start with the ones that are here. Um, I'm going to start with, let's see, Vinteum software first, of course. Vinteum is my wind beneath the wings. They're the ones that run this for me. I can't thank you all enough. Today we have Laura Malagnan on. She's the international sales rep. Laura, tell us about yourself and what does Vinteum do for associations?
Well, hello guys. Hope you all very well today. My name is Laura Malagon. I'm the sales representative here for Vinteum. So Vinteum has been in business for 11 years, providing websites and software solutions for community management, including HOAs, condominiums, and property management companies. We currently serve thousands of communities across the country, with 50% of our clients here in Florida. This strong presence is due to 100% compliance with state laws. We offer features such as fully customizable public-facing websites, document depositories, e-voting, and more. Way more features for all, managing the communities. Um, I think we help associations overcome common challenges such as inefficient communication, time-consuming manual processes, and a lack of community engagement. We provide our solution, which is called Neighbors, and is the ultimate all-in-one community management platform designed to improve communication and streamline processes, and also designed for all ages, residents, and board members.
Okay. How about e-voting? Are you guys doing that?
We have e-voting. We definitely comply to all the regulations that Florida has right now for e-voting, as well as websites and document storage for sure, which I know are the three, most important regulations right now for most communities that have to comply to this before January 2026. So yes, we have it.
Okay, great, because I know that was one you were working on for a long time, but didn't take it on. Julia, if you want to wave, she is absolutely my wind beneath the wings here, just guiding me through and inviting everybody. Next, I want to introduce Jamie Gelfand. She's with First Citizens Bank. She is a regional sales officer and vice president. Jamie, please introduce yourself and what you're doing and what's the bank doing.
Hi, Peggy. Thanks, everybody, for joining today. My name is Jamie Gelfand. I'm the Regional Sales Officer at First Citizens Bank. First Citizens is a 125-year-old top 20 bank. I work in the CAB Community Association Bank Division, covering the Tri-County market, where we provide loans and lockbox to associations. So if you're working on projects, your milestone reports, need financing information, just need some basic questions answered, I'm happy to help. I'll put my information in the chat, and I hope you enjoy the class today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Next, I want to introduce Kaiser Air Conditioning. We have Ruthie on today. She is the new marketing rep, doing a fabulous job. Ruthie, tell us about yourself and also Kaiser, because I haven't had an air conditioning company on as a sponsor ever. So I'm so glad to have you.
Yes, well, hello everyone. Thank you as always, Peggy, for creating a space where we can connect with so many property managers and decision makers. I'm Ruthie, and I'm proud to represent Kaiser Air Conditioning. We serve Broward, Palm Beach, Martin, and St. Lucie counties in Florida and have extensive experience working with property managers and engineers on site, whether it is a condo or a residential community with multiple buildings on property. So we know each scenario and property is different. So we want to customize an HVAC plan for you. We want to work with you during budgeting season, which I'm sure many of you are burdened with right now. And we want to develop a plan so you can meet your budgetary goals while fulfilling your obligation to the community and property to always have cooling and comfortable air. So our goal isn't just to solve problems when they happen, but to create like a long-lasting partnership that makes managing your property easier, more efficient, stress-free, all of those things. So we are open every single day. Holidays, weekends, all of it. So you can always call or text me personally, and you're going to see my info in the chat and in the follow-up email you'll get after this webinar. And thanks again, and we hope we can partner with you.
Awesome, awesome. They also have a VIP plan for associations, so you want to get signed up in case we do have a hurricane or something. Those top 25 are always recognized first, and they're just available whenever you need them. So, all right. Next, I want to introduce the driving Shelley Rovner. She's not going to get on, but she is traveling. Shelley, tell us about yourself, what you do, and what is Munyon doing these days?
Yes, hi. Thank you very much, Peggy. It's greatly appreciated. My name is Shelley Rovner. I'm project manager and event coordinator for Munyon Restoration, Waterproofing, and Painting. We specialize in high-rise condo HOA. Our services include restoration. We are a GC, painting, waterproofing, and electrostatic painting on all metal surfaces. If there is anything at all that I can assist with, please feel free to reach out to me. We are statewide, 75 years in business and 3 generation and almost 4 generation owned. So we can take care of everybody's needs. So like I said before, if you need anything, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. And be safe driving. But Munyon is the painter to go to in the whole state of Florida. Very large operation, lots of people, and can really help you in any situation. All right, next I want to introduce Dahlia Anise Esquire. She's the attorney, owner of Legacy Life Plan, expert in this field. So Dahlia, tell us more about yourself and the company.
Well, thank you, Becky. And thank you for all that you do for the community. We really appreciate you. I just wanted to tell you that. So I'm Dahlia Anise. I'm an estate planning attorney and the founder of Legacy Life Plan. I do wills, trusts, and capacity planning, children protection plan, young adult estate plan. But I do want to tell you that the goal of an estate plan is to keep your family out of court and out of conflict. And the traditional way of planning that has been done for so many years is really not the way to go anymore, because we have blended families, we have people living together, and the statistics that tell you that 90% of wealth is gone by the second generation, that's our grandchildren's generation, is completely lost, tells you that the system and the traditional way of planning does not work. So I do life and legacy planning. If you'd like to know more about this, you can book a free 15-minute call with me to see if we are even a good fit. So I would love to support you if that works for you. Thank you.
Okay, great. Awesome. Okay. I have quite a few sponsors that are not on today, and rather than go into complete descriptions of who they are, I know it's budget season. I am going to name them and mention them before I turn this over to you, Ed. First, we have COA Solutions of Florida. Daniel Baum is the contact there. All these people will be on the sponsor sheet. He is an insurance broker and very well known for saving people money. So if you want to take a look at your insurance package, you want to get with Daniel. The next one is Allenek Railings. A lot of people have an interest in this. They are manufacturers of new and they do repairs for railings on condominiums, high rises, any railings that you would need around your property. They are based out of Lantana, Florida. And they also have a paint that they use, which is also used by Munyon painting as well, electrostatic painting for touch-up. So very important on repairs. We have also a fairly new sponsor for me, Velocity Services Group. They are restoration, storm restoration. I thought the gentleman was in town today, but I guess he couldn't make it to the class. But they are a national company for restoration doing large projects, large restoration projects. We also have the paving lady on, based out of West Palm Beach, Florida, and in business for over 30 years. I have PD Concrete as a sponsor. All your concrete needs. They also have an engineer on staff now, which leads me to United Professional Engineering, longtime sponsor for me. Carmelo Giglio is the owner and senior engineer at his practice. He actually has the 20-year certification for inspections and is the reigning president of the Florida Structural Engineering Association. So he's very well respected even by the governor. Then I have Faster IO. This is a new streaming service. Bob Aleka is the vice president of communications there to reach out to. Best Roofing is also a sponsor. Best Roofing has been around for many years, based out of Broward County, covering mostly the Tri-County and moving now over to the West Coast. They're starting up in a few months, I'd say by the new year, and also north into Jacksonville. Then I have Clarkson and Varick. They are elevator consultants. They're not installers, but they are consultants. And if you need your elevator looked at, you don't know if your elevator company is telling you the right things, the wrong things. You don't even know if you need to replace it. Call Damaris Cabrera there and she'll help you out. Then we have 4 offices around the state for Hafer Company. They're a full service CPA firm, mostly doing auditing. And Nicole Johnson is the contact there. And then I want to turn this over to Ed Runke. Ed is our moderator for today. He is a general contractor and Ed Runke Consulting. And I'm going to let you take it away and turn it over to our speaker.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Peggy. I appreciate it. And, I think everybody touched on it, but thank you so much again for putting these things together. For all the CAMs and board members that are here. It's great to be able to come here and learn from, these great industry professionals, and Peggy does a great job of, vetting and making sure that we have great people on here. And I moderated for Ben a couple of weeks ago, so I'm excited about this class. Just tell you guys a little bit more about myself. As Peggy said, I'm a licensed general contractor, and I do education as well. I'm always on here, moderating or teaching classes with Peggy, but I also do a lot of in-person classes. So if you guys ever need somebody to come and speak to your board in person, or, do classes in your offices, I'm more than happy to travel and go do those with my team as well. So feel free to reach out. You can check out our website, runkeconsulting.com. We have a number of classes on there in the HR space. And I believe in a couple of weeks, I'm teaching an insurance-based class with Peggy as well. So feel free to check that out. But yeah, no, aside from that, I'm excited to get rolling here. You got, like I said, you got Ben Friedman coming on, had an excellent class a couple of weeks ago. We had a huge turnout. So everybody that's here, you're going to get a lot of knowledge, and feel free to ask a lot of questions. Utilize the chat. So there is a Q&A box. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there's the Q&A. Try to do all of your questions through the Q&A and not in the general chat. Just because there's a lot of stuff going on in the general chat, so we won't be able to monitor it as well. I'll keep an eye on both, but if you can put them in the Q&A, please do that. And keep in mind, guys, this class is for you, right? I mean, the moderator and the sponsors as well, can learn something. But as far as the board members and community members, ask as many questions as you can, because the question you have, somebody else probably has. And we want to make it as interactive as possible. We want to make sure you're getting the most out of this, and then we can continue to grow, the brand that we have here at the Condo Zone. So we appreciate you all coming on, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Ben. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ed. Quick shout out to Peggy and her team at Vinteum for always doing right by us and including us and getting the invites out and getting the sponsor sheets out. So no, a lot of work goes into that, and Peggy and the team of Vinteum, thank you guys very much. Ed, thank you for moderating once again. And I'll start it up. What we have here, I'm going to share my screen. Everyone can see. Ed, give me the thumbs up. We good? All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Some familiar names and faces here. So thanks for supporting me and my team. And for those of you that are new, welcome. My course today is a 1-hour HR course for community association managers. And it talks about installation safety in a condominium. We talk a little bit about how window and door projects that are kind of overbearing and cumbersome in a condominium association do have risks associated with them, and the types of ways that we could mitigate those risks. The DBPR credits, we will get all of your community association manager license numbers. And if you could just give us about a week or so, they should be uploaded to the DBPR. So let's get into it. So my name is Ben Friedman. As I said, I'm the president and owner of CitiQuiet Windows and Doors. We've been here in South Florida since 2006. And if you've gotten emails from anyone on my team or heard about us in the media, what we suggest is that we provide turnkey white glove installation services for all window, storefront, door, and railing projects. I came from New York here to South Florida to bring a company down in 2006 and was fortunate enough to grow it for them and had the opportunity to buy it from them in 2012. We're centrally located here in Boca Raton, Florida, where our headquarters is. We also have offices in North Miami, in Naples, as well as Fort Myers. So we really service the tri-state area. The course objectives for today, we are going to provide community association managers with the knowledge and tools necessary to ensure safe installation practices. This could be for any type of project going on at your property. We'll cover some safety regulations, risk management strategies, and best practices for overseeing installation projects, and focus on specific safety considerations for impact window and door projects, of course. Importance of installation safety in a condominium, ensuring resident safety, making sure that proper installation practices minimize the risk of accidents and injuries, ensuring the safety of all residents, not only residents, but ensuring the safety of you community association managers, you board members, and any vendors that may be on this. How do we all stay safe on an active job site? We'll go through regulatory compliance, adhering to Florida safety regulations and building code, which prevents legal issues and fines. That's what we want to do, minimize risk. Protection of the property itself. Correct installation of impact windows and doors protects the building from storm damage, enhancing the overall resilience of the property. So not only talking about installation and how to maintain a safe workspace, but what with some of these projects out there, concrete restoration, impact windows and doors, roofing, these envelope type projects, why do they contribute to the safety of a property? Well, of course, they continue to the structural integrity of the building and thus maintaining a safe, habitable living space. Lastly, community trust. Demonstrating commitment to safety builds trust with residents, enhances the reputation of the community association. Having lots of meetings, having town halls, having Zoom chats to walk through these ways to mitigate risk. Keeping people informed, two things, planning and communication. If you have those two things, you're going to have a successful result to your project, your marriage, your whatever it may be. So planning and communication, huge. So Florida safety regulations and building codes. The Florida Building Code, which we refer to as the FBC, is designed to ensure that all buildings in the state are safe, accessible, and in some cases, energy efficient. It includes specific requirements for materials design and construction to withstand Florida's unique climate challenges, such as hurricanes. So the FBC is something you're going to hear a lot about In South Florida, here in the Boca Raton and Miami area, a lot of what you hear is Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade, Miami-Dade, Miami-Dade. Why? Because Miami-Dade's codes are slightly more stringent than the Florida Building Code in the sense that it's focused on a main area. Miami-Dade, pretty much Broward, and Palm Beach County. So the Florida Building Code covers the entire state. But Miami-Dade, even if you're in Tampa or if you're in Orlando, you may be hearing, we want a Miami-Dade certification. Why? Because it just goes through an extra level of testing to achieve the certification required in what we now call these HVHZs. Those are high velocity hurricane zones. Okay. So there are specific requirements for impact windows and doors, and they're mandatory for new construction or renovations. When I say they're mandatory, hurricane protection is mandatory. If you're building a new building, you must have a compliance certified non-impact window and door system with an approved hurricane shutter, or you must have a impact window and door installed in the opening. That's for new construction. For retrofit or renovation, anytime you're making a structural alteration to the window or door opening, it is required to bring it up and comply with the current building code. So you have a building, you have concrete restoration project going on, you have non-impact, original sliding glass doors installed on this balcony. Well, the concrete restoration company needs to come in and they need to remove the sliding glass door in order to do a proper concrete repair and waterproofing. That old sliding glass door that's original cannot and must not go back in. It must be brought up to the current building code because you have made a structural alteration to your opening. These windows and doors must be able to withstand high winds and flying debris, reducing the risk of injury and property damage during storms. The biggest thing with impact windows and doors, guys, is that they maintain their structural integrity. They don't leave the opening. The opening exists. The window or door is there. We don't care if the glass breaks or not because it stays together as one piece. But we do care that the frame and the actual window or door itself is not getting blown out or ripped out of the opening, compromising the interior, pressure buildup, water damage, mold, all of those fun things. So impact glass is the front windshield of an automobile. It breaks, it stays together. There's rain, water hits it, use your windshield wipers, no water gets inside your car. Same with an impact window. It breaks. You could go through the storm. You have to replace the glass, of course, after the storm passes by, but you don't have to replace the frame, which is nice. The frame being structurally installed into the building is the most important thing. Think of buildings that are 20, 30, 40, 60, 80 stories high. There's not a whole lot of windborne debris flying around that high. But what you do have up that high is you have high winds and really strong pressure. And that pressure needs to stay outside of that building. Compliance and documentation requirements. Builders and contractors must obtain permits from local building departments before installing impact windows and doors. It's a requirement. It's a requirement for lots of different trades. But for windows and doors specifically, a permit must be in hand before the contractor lifts a finger. In addition, you need a notice of commencement that gets filed with the county. The permitting process ensures that the installation meets all safety and performance standards outlined in the Florida Building Code. You have a permit. Within the permit package, you have blueprints and plans, but you also have the products that you are using at the job site. When the city reviews the permit package at a desk, they look to see if the engineering requirements and the window or door that's being proposed to be used satisfy one another. They then come out for active inspections daily, weekly, monthly, whatever it may be, unless you have a threshold inspector or a special inspector on your job site. And they're ensuring that the products that are in that approved permit package are truly what is being installed inside that building, because that's what they are designed for. Homeowners undertaking renovations must also comply with these regulations to avoid increased insurance rates and ensure their properties are protected. You can pull a homeowner building permit. Feel free, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, you need a permit. You need to have your inspections, and the permit needs to be closed out. You need to get all the documentation in your closeout package from your contractor, suggesting that the permit was approved and closed out. You have all your warranty documentation in there. All of that documentation is going to be things that you're going to be giving to your insurance companies, looking for those mitigation credits and those discounts on your property, your property insurance. Any questions so far? Ed?
Yes, we just got one in. If there is a spot of delamination of less than 2 inches square on a large pane or slider door glass, does that require replacement of the entire glass pane?
So that's a good question. I'm not a manufacturer, I'm an installer. So I can't tell you from a manufacturing standpoint and a warranty claim standpoint how that would look if there was damage and it led to a product defect. What I can tell you is that the term lamination, okay, is another term for laminated glass, is another term for impact glass. And what laminating it means is that it's heating it up so that the interlayer between the two panes of glass bonds together and it prevents it from shattering. When it is delaminated, it is no longer laminated. Therefore, it is no longer impact glass. If it gets hit in the right spot, you know, and it's in that spot or it's in a corner, maybe you might experience some damage because it has been delaminated less than 2 inches, of course. But I think that that's just a risk that you might be willing to take or not take. At the end of the day, laminated glass, if it's no longer laminated, is no longer going to do what it's designed to do. I can't tell you if it's less than 2 inches or not, but I can just tell you by definition, laminated versus delaminated.
No, absolutely. And yeah, just to reiterate a couple of those points, but yeah, checking with the manufacturer, that's the best way that you can always check because they're going to always warranty those products, right? So if it is delaminated, you know the specifics of that, no matter who's installing for you, right? Make sure that they go over the specifics of what those, warranties look like and a rep to contact with the manufacturer as well. Because that's where those warranties will carry a lot of the time. So it's really important to make sure that one, your installer has a good relationship with the manufacturers, but you also want to know what the details of it are. And you can always call the rep with the manufacturing company to get those details and ask those questions. So if you do have a specific product that you have installed, just make sure that you contact the manufacturer and look into that if you wanted more specifics on that question. And
Yeah,
then go ahead. Sorry.
No, my guess, just to go back to the area of the delamination and the size of it, I would say it's totally a crapshoot and a guess. But I would say if it's so small, you're probably not going to have an issue, but that would be a guess. I think the bigger issue is that if you do have an issue and the manufacturer comes and does a visual inspection, they're going to use anything they can in their defense to not honor a warranty, which would be delaminated glass.
No, absolutely. And then I just wanted to reiterate too what you were talking about before, as far as getting the right permitting and doing the right work. As a contractor, I see that more oftentimes than not, where a community had recently done a project and they tried to get a cheaper job done. So maybe it didn't get permitted, or maybe it didn't, they didn't pull the permits on all the things that they were supposed to, and it didn't get installed properly. And exactly what Ben was saying, like that's going to affect your insurance and it's going to affect the entire property as a whole, right? So if the county didn't sign off on something and they find out about it, one, they're going to make you redo the whole thing because they want to get paid and they want to make sure that it was done properly. But your insurance company as well, if they find that new windows were put in or new doors were put in, they weren't permitted or installed properly and to code, they're not going to cover any of your claims. So doing things the right way on the front end is definitely going to protect you. So just make sure whoever you're using, they're pulling the proper permits and documentation, and you're reviewing that. So
right. Thank you, Ed. And if you're working without a permit, or you have work going on without a permit and the city finds out, code compliance will red tag your property, home, condo, whatever it may be. They will shut that job down. You will receive a fine, and they will not allow you to start that work back up again until you have a building permit on site. The other reason to get building permits is because then you at least have some sort of idea of who you're working with. Contractor goes and applies for the permit. This is who the contractor I'm working for. This is who the contractor that's working for me is, and this is what their reputation is. So, Florida safety regulations and building codes. Did I go backwards? I did. Did I? No. Yeah, maybe I did. Okay. Anyway, here we are. Identifying safety risks. So common safety hazards during installation, we're going to talk about after installation, but during installation, manual handling and lifting. This goes for people, employees of ours or subcontractors of ours, people that are working and doing, the manual labor. Installing impact windows and doors, extremely heavy product. They can lead to muscular issues. If you're not picking them up properly and you're bending down and you're trying to lift, you'll have lower back issues, neck, shoulder strain, whatever it may be. These products are sharp. They could cut you. They can cut the installer. These products are made out of glass. The glass is not going to necessarily break because it's impact glass on you and hurt you. But how about the old windows that are coming out of the building that don't have tempered glass, aka safety glass? I've seen, unfortunately, removing a window, the window lifts up and down, the glass breaks at the bottom, installer puts his hand through because there's no glass there except a little shard hanging from the edge of the frame down, goes to grab a hammer from the guy outside, and timing is right, the glass falls, cuts his arm, mess of a situation. So handling of product is extremely important. Handling of old product is equally as important. I talked about cuts and punctures, handling glass properly, right? Making sure that your contractors on your job site are wearing proper protective equipment, PPE equipment, gloves, glasses. Sometimes it's noisy and they wear earplugs, hard hats, harnesses, things like that. Falls happen at work. Workers are at risk of falling off of ladders. They're at risk of falling off of a scaffolding or any type of elevated work area. Make sure that these contractors check out their OSHA rating, check out their workers' comp policies, and if they have any work comp claims against them. How many times has someone done stucco work and fallen off of a scaffolding? That's a question that you want to ask. What is your rating with your work comp or your insurance company? There are different risk assessment techniques, of course, hazard identification, regularly inspecting the work site to identify potential hazards, such as unstable ladders, sharp objects, heavy loads. Weekly job site meetings with your contractors, a member of your association, whomever's representing them, your engineer. Daily safety meetings the contractor should be having. We work a lot on the exterior of a building, on swing stages, on mast climbers. The roof that the equipment is hanging from needs to have an inspection done to it daily before those swing stages get powered on. Check the power. What's the connection of the power? Is it in a place that might get wet? Things like that, okay? Job safety analysis, conduct a detailed analysis of each step in the installation process to identify risks and implement control measures. All of these things we're doing to mitigate risk. Accidents are always going to happen. Insurance claims, lawsuits are always going to happen, but mitigating the risk of them and or documenting along the way will reduce the exposure. I talked about it before, but use of PPE, ensuring all workers are equipped with appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE, such as gloves, safety glasses, harnesses, earplugs, hard hats, you name it, anything that allows for them to be working in a safe place. Ladders that are getting inspected that aren't rusty, extension cords that or equipment that is wired as opposed to wireless, inspecting the cord, making sure that wires aren't frayed, causing sparks potentially and then fires, all of these things.
Nope, absolutely. And I think, a big point to this is, of what you're getting into, Ben, is with safety, be proactive rather than reactive, right? So if you can, look into all of these things. You have, great contacts and great vendors that are a part of the program that you get to meet here, every week with Peggy. I know Ben's more than welcome to take any calls, even if you have a project going on that he's not doing. He'd rather make sure a project goes correctly and give you good information. Same here, and the same with all the other vendors that are here. So if you're concerned, you have a question, you're not sure, just if it's not today, you can still ask those questions. You have all our contact information. So don't be afraid to make sure that your project is going well, you're making the right decision. And Peggy, I think you had something. So go ahead. I think you had a note on something there. So
Yeah, I just want to make a recommendation because a lot of boards and residents and so on, they put this all on the property manager, and then the manager is supposed to be running the community and watching out for everything else that's going on. And I just like to recommend to the boards that you have a board member, like maybe over a small committee for the projects that are going on, and help your property manager. And the boards are probably saying, well, we're on the board because nobody else wants to be on the board. You'd be surprised if you asked your community. There's probably a lot of experience in your residents pool, and see who maybe in some part of their past they were involved in construction or something, and maybe can just oversee and help on the monitoring of all these points that Ben's making here. These weekly meetings, these daily safety meetings, maybe somebody from your committee should attend to make sure they are having those. The other thing is to check their insurance every single month that they still are insured. That certificate of insurance is issued in the beginning. Yes, they have insurance, and some of these contractors, they let it go after a short time because it's expensive to maintain insurance. But I would ask you to get your boards engaged. Don't put it all on your property manager, or if you do, you're going to see some things fall short on the property management side because they can't do it all.
Right. Yeah, Peggy, for sure. And when it comes to insurance, ask the contractors to be giving you certificates of insurance listing you guys as the additional insured. I mean, speak to your condominium association attorneys and counsel and find out exactly what those certs should be saying, whether it's for general liability, whether it's for workers' comp, for automobile, anything that, again, to protect the overall aspect of the project, people, property, and things like that.
No, and that can be for any size project, guys, too. So we do small repairs, but depending on in some communities, and some of those communities, that's in their policy where we have to get a certificate of insurance, with them listed as the additionally insured. It could be for a $500 job, right? So, and you may want to change that to only be for big projects, but I tell people, exactly what Ben just said. You can never be too careful when it comes to the safety and the precaution side. One, if someone's not willing to produce one for you, that's probably a concern, right? So that can help, mitigate different contractors for you right away. But if it's just part of your policy, then every single project you do, you get one of those, and then you have it on file for the year or until it expires, and you just make sure somebody's tracking that stuff. But it's very important. I think, I encourage all communities to follow that route, and at a minimum, be asking for certificate of insurance. But yeah, you could get automobile and workers' comp on there, like Ben said as well. So
For sure.
Also,
Yeah.
to interject, if you don't mind, is that the project might be $500, but the injury might be thousands or more.
no, absolutely. Like Ben said, I mean, there's risk with pulling out one window, right? I mean, that window could shatter. You could have an issue. You have a guy in a roof and he falls off the roof doing a small repair. Like anything could happen. So you definitely want to protect yourself and protect your community. And again, all this, right? It's that proactive versus reactive approach. So,
Yeah, I mean,
Ben and myself will give you the tools, but you guys got to do it, right? So
yeah, and these smaller projects, I mean, if like Peggy said and like Ed said, I mean, you have someone coming to your house to wash your windows, water spraying all over the place. They slip and fall and break their elbow or whatever, and they're out of work and they can't be a window washer anymore. They're suing somebody for sure for that $500 window wash that they just did in your home. So very important stuff. Thank you guys. Best practices for installation. I talked about some of this already, but a pre-installation safety check, right? Ensuring proper permits and approvals. Hey, we got the permit. We're ready to come work. Okay, bring it to the job site and post it. Leave it here. It's necessary. I may say that because I want to get out there and keep my guys busy and I can't keep waiting for this darn permit because the building department takes forever. Doesn't make an excuse. The permit gets printed and it gets brought to the job site or else work does not start. Inspecting the work site. Conduct a thorough inspection of the work site to identify and address any potential hazards. What's going on? What's the flow of traffic? Are there busier times during the day than other times during the day? People leave for work in the morning and come back, around 4 or 5 o'clock. Okay, let's try to work around that. Looking for damage in parking lots, looking for safety hazards, such as even security. I mean, these are projects that have high valuable equipment and material being stored on them. What happens when that job site is not secured and someone comes onto that job site and steals 10 chipping hammers that are each $1,500? Now, all of a sudden, it's a $15,000 rebuy for the contractor, but then they also can't work because they don't have their tools there. So security is also a big thing. And then, as I said, safety training. Ensure all the workers have received adequate safety training and understand the safety protocols specific to the installation of impact windows and doors. Let's talk about non-impact windows and doors. Concrete restoration, pavers, balconies, waterproofing. You have to use equipment to get to all of those work site or those site-specific locations. You might have to drive a forklift. You might have to drive a boom truck, whatever it may be. The silliest little things are all things that need to be taken into consideration on a property.
quick question too, Ben. John had asked if you were replacing just the glass and the frame, do you need a permit for that?
Yes. And the frame, just the glass, no. The frame, yeah. It's a structural alteration.
Okay.
But you wouldn't be replacing glass only unless you had an impact window installed properly and that glass delaminated or broke. Then you'd replace the glass. But if you had a non-impact window, you'd never take that glass out and put impact glass in that non-impact frame.
Nope, I think that's perfect. Thank you.
All right, so this is a little bit redundant, but PPE equipment, safety glasses, right? We're cutting stuff. There's dust flying around, stucco, chipping, all these little things. Having swing stages while we're working, maybe even it means netting a building, which means providing fall protection so that while stucco is being chipped and falling off this concrete falling off the side of the building, what's down there? Well, I'm thinking of a job site we're working on right now, which has a parking deck that sits right up against the building that's open at the top. And then of course, downstairs is closed. All the windows that sit up above that parking deck, when we do that work, you better believe that we're telling them that they need to move their cars X amount of feet away from this active work area. And we're also putting netting down around the building because things do fall. And if you're on the 10th floor and you chip a little piece of stucco off, it's going to come down hard and not straight. and it's going to hit something, and there's going to be damage to an individual, to property, to cars, whatever it may be. Safe handling of materials and tools. Use proper lifting techniques and handling procedures to prevent injuries. How do we lift a bag of concrete up? We don't just bend down and pick it up. There's a process. There's a right way to do it to minimize the chance of you blowing out your back. As I told you before, when we're passing tools or material through an opening, make sure that there's not rough edges or even a piece of glass hanging there that is, you're going to pray doesn't fall right while your arm is going through that opening to get that hammer from the individual on the other side of that wall. Securing the work area, use barriers and signage to secure the work area and keep residents and other non-essential personnel away from the installation site. I can't tell you enough how many residents are curious. They want to know what's going on. They want to come into your work area. They want to see stuff. They're bored. They have nothing else to do. They want to be involved. Well, if you have in your work area a job site, we occupied 3 parking spaces and we roped it off with caution tape and no one is allowed to come in there because that's our area. Well, the caution tape ripped and it was down and the cones fell over because it was windy and someone walked in there and got hurt. That's on the contractor for not securing that area and putting up proper barriers and signage to keep people out. Not only people that are curious, but again, there's also thieves. Thieves want to come in and steal stuff. If the thief walks in and the thief gets hurt, they won because they're going to go and file an insurance claim or a lawsuit. All they want is the money, whether it's your material that they're trying to steal or they happen to get hurt and they get paid, for negligence for not keeping the job site secure, right? So signs, meetings, redirecting traffic, keeping people away, all of those things. Whoa, I went the whole wrong way. Sorry. So now we are at, once the installation of impact windows and doors is complete, or once your roofing project is complete, or your concrete restoration, now what happens? Now we still need to maintain safety measures. We need final inspections from the building department, from the engineer of record, blessing from the association, releases of liens, conducting a final inspection to ensure that all work has been completed safe and to the required standards. Cleaning up of debris and dirt, and dirt, things like that, construction material. Ensure it gets taken out regularly. When I say regularly, I mean when an old window or door comes out of an opening, before the new one goes in, those old frames that are sharp, rusted, and dangerous with glass all over them should be taken away and put in the dumpster to be hauled away. They should not be put on a dolly or a rack left in the hallway outside of the door that we're working on for the neighbor to open up the door, walk outside, not see it, trip and fall, or get cut. Okay? Big, big, big thing. Verifying compliance and safety standards. Check that the installation meets all relevant safety standards and building codes. That's really not the property manager's job. That's really the contractor's job, maybe the owner's rep or the project manager's job. As Peggy said, property managers, their plate is full and they have an overflow onto another plate. The last thing they need to do is be going around picking up shards of glass, dirt, screws, things that can cause accidents. They have plenty to do. I'm sure they will do it because they don't want to get hurt and they don't want their residents to get hurt, but a contractor is responsible for maintaining a safe and clean workspace. Check out how they store their materials. Is their trailer, job site trailer, a mess? Or do they have things systematically shelved in trailers, labeled appropriately? All of these things are telltale signs of the kind of experience that you should expect you're going to get. I would say to even before you contract with a contractor, go look at some of their other job sites that they're actively working on. See how that project looks. Their bags of cement, are they stacked up beautifully in a 90-degree, or are they thrown all over the place? That's the experience that you should expect, is what you see on other active workspaces from that contractor. So communication, as I said, huge thing. Communicating safety protocols, clearly communicating all of them, creating the expectations before the start of the project, reiterizing it during the project, and then executing it throughout and reminding everyone at the end that this is how it started, this is how it went, and here we are today. Regularly review safety practices with the installation team. I mean, again, weekly safety meetings on hey, let's work in a safe space. Hey, this is how we should be handling our glass, blah, 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 blah. But daily safety meetings on the equipment that's being used. Coordinating with residents to minimize disruptions, information and communication to residents about the installation schedule and any potential disruptions. Weather's a big issue these days. If we tell Peggy, hey, Peggy, we're going to be in we tell the property manager, hey, please let Peggy in apartment 101 know that we're going to be there on Thursday. Peggy's planned her day accordingly for that. Peggy should also be, should have communication from the property manager. This is what you should expect when these individuals enter your unit. There will be dust, there will be debris, there will be damage. Okay, what do I have to do as a resident so that they don't damage my drapes that I got for my 50th wedding, 50-year wedding anniversary, or whatever it may be? Or they're working on my windows and I have this little clay pot that I got in Greece 25 years ago. It can't be replaced. Get it out of there. Be proactive as a resident as well. So, providing clear instructions on how to stay safe during the installation process, stay away. I mean, you want to be curious, you want to see, we get it, but it slows the project down. It applies pressure to the individuals in the field that people are breathing down their necks watching them. Stay away. We tell you what we're going to do. We do it. Therefore, you don't need to really necessarily watch it go by. It's very loud. It's very dusty. And it's very warm because we've taken the windows out and now we need to put the new ones in. But there's a little period of time, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it may be, of warm air, humidity coming inside these units. So documenting and reporting procedures for safety incidents. Establish what these procedures are by documenting and reporting all throughout the project. Someone gets hurt, document it. Someone goes to urgent care, document it. Tell the property manager this is what happened. Communicate it so that they don't get a lawsuit from this individual who got hurt on their property. Ensuring that all incidences are investigated and appropriate corrective actions are taken. Something happens, go through the whole process, do the due diligence, and make sure that you don't make the same mistake more than one time.
We got a couple of questions here, Ben, that we'll touch on real quick. And maybe you or Peggy may know the answer to this one, but this is more about responsibility of payment. So I'm not sure if you guys will have this information handy or not, but it's when your documents are silent, how should we proceed with window and door projects, association budget, or member responsibility for replacement of the windows? Typically, my experience is that, it depends on, the bylaws of what's there, but I don't know, Ben, you may know a little bit more about specifically with window and door.
It's what do the condo docs say? If the unit owner is responsible for the maintenance, replacement, and is responsible, then it's the unit owner's responsibility. If it's the associations, then it's common area, and the association can pick and choose how and when they want to do things. Now, it doesn't mean that when they're owned by the individuals that the association still can't mandate a window and door replacement project. And that you'll have to speak to your legal counsel about how to do that. But we're working on a project in Hollandale right now. It's the unit owner's responsibility for the care, maintenance, and replacement of their windows and doors. we're doing it with the association. We're replacing every single window in the building. Not every resident is happy about it because there's a cost associated to it, to them. But in that one, the condo docs say they're responsible, but the association took it upon themselves to do the concrete restoration, the 50-year, and replace all the windows at the same time.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, so it's important to pose the question, at a board meeting or with the council, right? But, make sure that you know the answer to that. Another one is, and you were touching on this a little bit, Ben, but maybe you can go into a little bit more detail. But it says, who is responsible for the contractor's material if the contractor's materials are stolen while on association property? And just to reiterate what Ben was saying before, they should have, if it's a big project, they should have a trailer or a Connex box on site that should be locked when employees are not around. Any equipment and vehicles that they have there, no key should be available there. So, but if you want to go a little bit more into detail, Ben, on
Yeah,
that detail, so.
It's a very interesting question. I think that would be something that should be spoken about with their contractor before the project, and how it relates to whose insurance would cover those items. Part B of it is not only theft of tools and equipment, but how about damage from Mother Nature to windows and doors that are brand new in a trailer sitting on the association's property? So quick story, Hurricane Ian, we were doing a window and door replacement project in Naples on Vanderbilt Beach. And we had 2 containers full of impact windows and doors that were about to be installed in August or July, August of Hurricane Ian year, 3 years ago. Hurricane Ian, where a third of the way through the project, the other 2/3 balance of the windows and doors, the brand new ones, are in the trailers. Hurricane Ian comes. No one had any idea what kind of storm surge we would see. Lifted up trailers, sailed them down the street about a mile with the impact windows and doors in them, the brand new ones. The question was because there was damage to some of them and they had salt water all over them, who is responsible for that material that needs to be corrected that was damaged due to that event? And fortunately, there was builder's risk insurance involved in it. And there was a lot of dotted I's and crossed T's, not even knowing there was going to be a storm, as to whose responsibility it was. And sure enough, fortunately, it was material that was paid for by the association to us. And we delivered that material. We hadn't installed it yet, but because they paid for it, they owned it. So they were responsible, and they had to file an insurance claim to recoup probably about $80,000 worth of material that got damaged. So that's the deal with that. But I would always say, ask your insurance carrier. I mean, we've had stuff walk off of job sites all the time, impact drivers, hammer drills. Look, if it's 1 or 2 or 3 things, it's a couple $1,000. Us as the GCs, we probably just, it's not worth our time putting a claim in and going against our insurance. But if you have a big, massive, forklift disappear, you're talking about 5 or 6 figures, and it may be worth you understanding who owns that equipment that's on that condominium association or property association's pavement, for lack of a better term.
I think that was perfect. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah. So the role of the CAM, we spoke about this. It is not to be the GC. Please understand, we are the GCs. It is not to be the project manager. You board members out there, you property managers out there, I'm saying this for you. You are not the project manager. You are the property manager, and your plate is full. Hire a project manager, hire an owner's rep, hire someone to oversee this thing, because your property manager already can't get done what you want them to do, you board members want them to do in a day. Now you're adding to their list, and it's not their responsibility. So the responsibility of the CAM is to is in the installation project, is to oversee the installation process to ensure compliance with safety protocols and building codes. we need to present that information to the community association manager, showing them that we are overseeing these safety protocols. Coordination between contractors, residents, and other stakeholders to facilitate smooth project execution should be done with either the property manager, or if your association can afford to hire an owner's rep or a project manager. Best practices for managing contractor relationships: establish clear communication, communicating and planning, two biggest things, and maintaining regular contact with your contractors. You should have, if you're a property manager or even a board member, you should have your 911 list of who you're going to call when X, Y, and Z happens. And it's your contractor's on-site superintendent. It's the project manager overseeing the on-site. It may be someone in management in the office from an ops team. Have a hot list and clearly set expectations for the performance and the safety standards. As long as you set reasonable expectations, communicate them, and execute them, you will have a positive result. Lastly, ensuring ongoing safety and compliance: conduct regular safety audits and inspections, and stay updated on changes in safety regulations and building codes. The silliest little things lead to issues. Example: how many times has a board member, a property manager, a resident seen a contractor leaning a ladder up against a building instead of opening it up and ensuring it's in a safe spot? Leaning it up against the building. Leaning it up against the building equals OSHA showing up to your job site and there being a $10,000 fine. Silly little things. And that, my friends, is all I got for you today. So thank you.
Nope, that was excellent. If you guys want, feel free to ask any questions you may have about any of this stuff. But again, I know Ben's available. Peggy's available. You can always send questions to her, or to Ben, or to myself, any of the other vendors on here to get more answers. So, but this stuff's very important. The safety piece is very, very important, probably more important than ever now. And, the building requirements, especially in that Miami-Dade area code and the West Palm Beach area, they're very strict. So making sure that you're doing things the right way is always going to be important. So, but thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Ben. I thought that was great. And
My pleasure.
Peggy, go ahead with any closing remarks you may have.
Great. Yes. Thank you so much, Ben. Concise and pertinent information that we all need to know.
My
And
pleasure.
safety first. Great job. And great job, Ed. I just have a couple of things to mention. First of all, if anyone on today attended the Karen's engineering class, we are still editing the recording, and we will have it hopefully posted and up and out by next week. It was on reserve studies. We had a couple of things there. So we are working on that. We'll get that to you. This class was recorded. I will send you the recording, and also the slides are available if you want those. I do want to say that this is, again, a 1-hour CEU course for managers, but it is not a 1-hour training class for board members. This does not satisfy the Florida law. The only class, 1-hour training class, that qualifies is the one for legal update for board members. Okay. So watch, I've got more classes coming, of course. We're getting into season here, and I can't thank you enough for attending. Thank you to all my sponsors and to Vinteum. Again, great job. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye
Bye,
bye.
everybody.
I'll stop the recording.